think I'm lying about being an immigrant. I had this friend of mine confront me recently, and we've been friends for years. And he came up to me after a show and he was like, Susan, you gotta drop the whole South American thing. You don't even speak Spanish. Right. Because I'm from Brazil. We speak? Portuguese! Okay, Portuguese. You thought I was like a Rachel Dolezal for Latinas? I think I'm more like a Latina Michael Jackson. Right? You know, he's a black man who with time started to look white. And I also fuck children. Okay, I'm glad we like edgy jokes. So this week there's this guy called Leo Lins, or Leo Lins for you mayo-ass honkies. He got sentenced to 8 years for his edgy jokes. 8 years. Like, you know, I don't stand by all of his jokes. I do think they kind of go too far, but putting someone in prison for 8 years over that is crazy. That is a sentence for homicide back home. I know comedians will say things like, you know, I did so well that night, I murdered. But if good jokes could actually kill, then most comedians would be fine. I'm gonna show you guys one of his jokes though, so you guys get an idea. And it'll set the vibe. Woo! It's really not that bad. Don't be too scared. Okay. So I'm gonna be him for a moment. I'm gonna be Lou. Okay. N-word is like, is that like a thing in Portuguese, I guess? I could try, no. I'm low now. So, you guys, I was in an online forum this week, and I told a pedophilia joke, and people didn't like it. It was crazy. They kept being so mean to me, and they kept saying things like, making a joke about the thing is the same thing as doing the thing. And, my feelings were pretty hurt. They kept yelling at me and sending me message after message after message, and I felt bummed out. I could only cheer myself up the next day when I went to hang out at a children's playground and watch the kids. Yeah, go up the slide. Genius work? No. But it's really not worth 8 years in prison. It's not like he did anything like that in real life. People only take issue with his jokes. He's not like a creep or anything like that. 8 years in prison, he would have spent less time if he was an actual pedophile. That is true. You can look it up. I mean, Epstein was in prison for a month. The thing about edgy jokes is a lot of us, we just keep them, and I think the other comics can agree with that. We just put them in because they're getting laughs, so we keep doing them. If people like them, you do them. Like my Michael Jackson did. I never wrote that joke. I just forgot my actual joke one day, and then I said that. And people said, you should keep that joke. Some people came up to me after and they said, it's funny. Because if anything, Michael Jackson would be into you. Because you dress like a child. So I threw away my propeller hat. I think it's fun. I really like this kind of skirt.
We're wearing the same skirt.
Oh my god. Yay. Well, get up. I'll show them. Okay, turn around. Because it makes your butt look big. Check them out. I wear that skirt as evidence so people stop accusing me of being a fake Brazilian. You guys think I'm forgetting my jokes? No, I'm tactically coming up here to check them out. So my whole point is if Leo, actually doing bad things actively, put him in jail for life, who cares? But it really is just jokes, And kind of obvious, because if he was a pedophile, his stand-up set would not be, I am a pedophile. Who is he, Crystalia? So for those of you who don't know who Crystalia is, You now have to look at him or me.
Oh my god.
Right, okay, so Chris D'Elia is this comedian who played a pedophile comedian in the Netflix show You. And later it was found out that he was actually that in real life. I know. I recently rewatched the show and it's very weird. But it got me thinking. I feel like Chris D'Elia is kind of like the Kids Bop of comedians. The Kids Bop is like those kid-friendly versions of weirdly sexy pop songs. You know, I feel like Chris D'Elia and Kids Bop are both sort of uncomfortable to watch. But what can I say? Kids fuck with it. I've tried to put in more pedophile jokes in this set than Leo does as a defense. But my thoughts about the situation is I actually don't stand by all of his jokes. I think Leo's jokes can be a little too edgy. Ha ha ha. But at the end of the day, 8 years in prison is a really, really long time for that. And I do think, they're gonna let go of the charges. But if they don't, I think Leo should just come to America and hide here. It's been working. Right, I never told you guys. So 7 years ago, I wrote this Michael Jackson.